My brother's last words were my wife's name. They'd never met. She was standing right behind me when he said it. Wyatt had been in the hospital for 3 weeks after the accident. Internal bleeding, collapsed lung, brain swelling. The doctors told us to prepare for the worst, but I kept hoping for a miracle. My wife Camille flew in from her work trip to be there at the end. She'd never met Wyatt because he lived overseas and our wedding was small. They'd only seen each other through photos I'd shared. When she walked into that hospital room, Wyatt's eyes were closed and his breathing was shallow. I was holding his hand when he suddenly opened his eyes and looked directly past me. His cracked lips moved and he whispered one word with absolute clarity: Camille. Then he flatlined. The machines started screaming and nurses rushed in, but I just stood there frozen. Camille grabbed my arm from behind, and her grip was too tight. "How did he know my name?" she asked. Her voice sounded strange. "I don't know," I said. "You've never met him." The funeral was 3 days later. I was going through Wyatt's belongings when I found his laptop. His email was still logged in, and I wanted to notify his contacts about his passing. That's when I saw the folder. Hundreds of emails, all between Wyatt and my wife, dating back 14 months. The first email was from Camille. "I found your profile on that travel forum. Your brother talks about you all the time, but never introduces us. I wanted to reach out." Wyatt's response was friendly, but confused. They kept emailing and the tone shifted gradually from casual to familiar to something else entirely. By month 6, they were video calling multiple times a week. By month 8, she was telling him things she'd never told me, about feeling trapped in our marriage, about wanting more, about how she thought she'd married the wrong brother. Month 10, Wyatt wrote that he was coming to visit us. He wanted to meet her in person. She told him to wait. She wasn't ready to make a decision yet. Month 12, just weeks before his accident, Camille wrote something that made my hands shake. "I've made my choice. It's you. I'm going to tell him after your visit. We can finally be together." Wyatt never responded to that email because 3 days later, his car was hit by a drunk driver. I sat there staring at the screen while my entire marriage collapsed in front of me. 14 months of lies. 14 months of falling in love with my brother behind my back. I confronted Camille that night. She didn't even try to deny it. "He understood me in ways you never could," she said coldly. "We had a connection you and I never had." "You were going to leave me for my own brother?" "Yes, and I still would have if he hadn't died." She looked at me with no emotion in her eyes. "You want to know something?" His last word being my name wasn't random. We agreed that if anything ever happened to either of us, we'd say each other's name as our last word, a promise we made. She smiled. He kept his promise to me, even in death. I moved out that week, filed for divorce the next, but something kept nagging at me about those emails. The timeline didn't make sense. Camille's first email mentioned finding Wyatt on a travel forum, but Wyatt had never been on any travel forum. He was a software developer who never posted anything personal online. I went back through the emails more carefully. The IP addresses attached to Wyatt's responses all traced to different locations, some from countries Wyatt had never visited. The writing style changed subtly over time. Small inconsistencies in how he described his job, his hobbies, our childhood memories. Someone had been pretending to be my brother, someone who studied him well enough to fool Camille for over a year. Then I noticed the last email in the folder, sent 2 days after Wyatt died, from his account to Camille. "You chose correctly, but you chose too late. Now you lose both of them." Camille never mentioned receiving that email. When I asked her about it, her face went white. "I never got that. I never saw that message." We both looked at Wyatt's laptop. The sent folder showed the email went through successfully. The timestamp was 3:47 a.m., 2 days after Wyatt's funeral. Someone used my dead brother's account to send that message. Someone who knew about their affair. Someone who wanted us both to suffer. I still don't know who was really emailing my wife.